You guys hear me all right?
Yep, we can hear you now. How are you doing, Lou?
Doing great. Doing great. How about you all?
Outstanding. I'll tell you what, if you could do me a small favor and
Yeah.
give me a slow count to 5 so that if they wish to pin your video, they can easily.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, perfect. And we're not online today, being streamed live. So really, everyone, as long as you've got your recording set up, we'll send out a link after, of course. You can go ahead and get started. I'm going to keep Lou to 15 minutes.
Hey,
How's it
Lou.
going? How's it going, everybody?
All right.
Good to see your smiling faces again.
Lou, during this unique training camp, how do you guys work on tackling? That was obviously a big issue last year.
hmm It's funny you ask. We started immediately in the walkthrough. And I told the players this. First of all, tackling primarily is about timing and angles. The physical part of it, you'll get work on. But if you don't have a proper angle, if you don't have your proper timing, then you don't even have a chance to physically get the guy on the ground. So we can do all that stuff without pads on it. And once we get pads on, we'll emphasize the physical part of it. So we like every year, we'll work on it every day with even more emphasis. This year.
Coach, last year you made some defensive improvements from day one to the conclusion of the season.
Yeah.
Well, in your mind, what were they, and what were the reasons behind them, and what kind of improvements are you looking for this year?
Well, this year brings a bunch of different set of challenges. Obviously, as we all know, just because of the shorter training camp and the lack of a spring, but just getting all the new faces, coordinated. Yesterday was the first time when they got in the huddle for the first time, they're like, "Hey, I'm Vaughn. Hey, I'm so and so. Hey, I'm this guy."
They have name tags on.
I mean, it was unbelievable, to be honest with you. Even though they've been Zooming together and all that stuff, you're finally together on the field. So, we'll obviously mindful of that and what the challenges are this year and what they'll bring. I just think the guys, I don't want to talk a whole lot about last year, but I think the guys, feeling better with what was going on, the scheme, this, that, and the other thing. And I think that all had to play as the year went on, playing better. And the team played better. We ran the ball better, and that helps everybody.
How do you accelerate them getting more comfortable with each other and just comfortable with the scheme and all of that? And like I said, in such a
the good news is it's not 6 rookies we're dependent on. That would certainly add to the challenge. But we made a conscious effort in the guys we took. Not only are they quality men and quality players, but they're smart individuals and they've been around. So while they may have called a particular technique something at another team, it's really, hey, this is just what you called it. And, we're trying to assimilate as best we can, with some general things, and then we'll just build from there. So it's exciting. They've done great in the classroom work. And so far with the 2 walkthroughs we had with the veterans and the 5 we had with the rookies, guys are picking stuff up.
Well, how concerned are you right now with defensive tackle depth given the attrition that's happened before the season started?
Sounds like I'm not the only guy worried about that around the league. It seems to be a few teams are having that issue. But we will, I'm sure, address it, and we've got some good young guys we're working with, and we're not practicing until I think August 12th or something like that. So we still have time to maybe go get a guy or 2, but we'll see how it all shakes out.
If you guys lose maybe 1 or 2 more guys, depending on what happens, either between the deadline tomorrow or the end of the, before y'all start practicing, will you have to at some point consider maybe adjusting scheme, and maybe not just with DTs, but in general? I mean, is that something you have to be flexible with, given the personnel you might have rotating throughout the year?
Yeah, it's going to be – we'll make do with what we have. But at the end of the day, whether you're playing 4-3 or 3-4. You got to have some big guys in there that can hold up against the run, And even if you're playing, which again, we're all 70% of the time we're going to be in 2 defensive tackle scheme. You still have have to have guys that can roll through. So regardless of the scheme, we will be in position to have guys that can go in there and be effective. We feel certainly with the current guys, or if we add a guy or two as we see fit.
Coach, what are you looking for from in Bell? I guess he introduced himself. So what are you looking for from Bell? What does he give you? You guys went after and got him pretty early in the process.
He is a football player, in all areas. The guy is a workhorse from a meeting standpoint, great communication, great leader. He's a physical guy. He brings that, we got Younger back there a little bit with him, and he's a good blitzer. I'm just excited to get him and see him move in a live situation, because he really brings a bunch of energy and juice to the group, and we're excited about it.
When you started going through the offseason and acquired new players through free agency and the draft, how much, once you got all those new pieces, did you sit down and find new ways to draw up, whether it's the scheme or format things to fit them that might be different than last year's? Do you feel like there's a lot of that, or is it a lot of taking those guys into the same type of stuff that you were doing?
Well, you always try to, you never try to get in a situation where you're fitting a square peg in a round hole. You want to have it fit the guys as best as possible, but there'll be some give and take on what we're doing. But for the most part, it'll be some of the things that we've hung our hat on in the past, and and making sure that we just do it better than we did last year.
You obviously overhauled the linebacker position, Coach. Early returns on what you've seen with virtual meetings and walkthroughs.
Yeah, running around in shorts and meetings and stuff, those guys have done well. So the real true test will come when there's a guard coming off the ball, and how do they get off the block and how they make a tackle. But from knowing what to do, read and react, get to where they're supposed to be, they've done well. I'm pleased with that group so far.
Considering how young that group is, how important was it to get a guy like Josh Bynes, and what are you seeing from him in terms of leadership?
Yeah, that's a great question, and was, great job by, Duke and Zach and ourselves on the defensive staff, and not patting ourselves on the back. I just think we kind of steered it that way because of what you just said. He's a guy that's done it. He's a high character guy who can really help these young guys out in how they approach not only the stuff on the field, but off the field as well. My good friend, James Betcher, had him in Arizona and had nothing but great things to say about him. So, he's a huge asset both on and off the field. So he's going to play a pivotal role, again, not only on the field, but in the locker room as well.
How can you use Sean?
New faces and with the rookies, it feels like that position more than any other is pretty wide open right now. How soon do you ideally want to have those positions locked in so that first team guys are getting team reps?
Yeah, it'll sort itself out. Again, we got to start practicing. We can't. We got to see these guys out there, playing football, and then once we do, we'll kind of sort it from there. That's the hand we're dealt this year. You can't. I'm not going to start judging a guy on a walkthrough or something like that. We try to temper our enthusiasm on a normal year in the spring when guys are just running around in shorts and they're tagging people off as opposed to tackling. You really don't want to make hard and fast personnel decisions until you see them play football, and that includes tackling and getting off blocks and all the things you have to do. So we'll balance it out, but right now we're still a ways away from that.
Lou, how can you try to utilize Sean Williams this year? He's a versatile piece, maybe. What do you view in his role, and are you trying to find creative ways to do stuff with him?
Yeah, he's a guy that's got a wealth of experience, has done a number of different jobs for us in the past, and we'll have some creative packages where, whether it be on third down or first and second down, where, who knows, could have 3 safeties out there. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We're working on all those things.
Coach, what is your expectations, or what are your expectations for William Jackson this season?
Yeah, I just want Will, to stay healthy. He's coming off that shoulder. So I want him to stay healthy, and I want him to be consistent. That's all any of us want, especially in the back end. If you're a consistent player, you'll play in this league a long time. So he's got great God-given ability. He has to do it on every snap, and it's hard. It's a tough position that he plays, but really just for him, it's consistency both in the run game where he's asked to tackle, but certainly paramount in the pass game where he's asked to cover and knock balls down and pick them off. So consistency would be the number one thing with him.
Anything?
Lou, when we mentioned the youth in the linebacker room, when it comes to Logan and Akeem, just what have your initial takeaways been from the 2 of those guys, especially in their approach and just the way they kind of had to handle this unique offseason?
Both guys came in great shape. Both guys came in ready to go, knowing the playbook. There's obviously going to be little things that they go through each day, that we have to correct. But they're moving around a little bit more like veterans than they are rookies right now, which is a good sign. They'll have a learning curve, you know how it goes. So, but they're doing well.
Where is Marcus physically, Bailey?
He's good. He's out there. He's doing good. Yeah, he's everything we've done, he's done. So,
is it fair to say he might be one guy that actually benefited from not having an off season where he didn't fall behind?
Yeah, he was able just to rehab for sure. So, he's you wouldn't know he was injured. That's for sure.
What would you like to see out of Logan Wilson before, in order for him to maybe feel comfortable with potentially competing for a starting role?
I missed the beginning. What'd you say, bro?
I said, what would you need to see from Logan Wilson or any of these young backers for you to feel comfortable to put them in a starting role week 1?
Yeah, just again, as I mentioned earlier, really just let's go out there and play football, right? Let's see them run, hit, tackle, get off blocks, command the huddle, all the things that a linebacker has to do. Set the front, set the blitz, all the things we ask them to do. It's way too early to, even though, the clock's ticking, we get that. But that's why, going back to the earlier question, it's a luxury to have a guy like Josh Bynes, but we'll keep progressing those guys in as soon as possible.
I guess you go into the season hoping to play Gino and Carlos less.
What's funny is I still remember, I think we were playing Oakland last year, and I'm like, I looked to my left and I looked to my right, and I saw Gino on one side of me and Carlos on the other, and I'm like, damn, why aren't they on the field? So you have to keep those guys rep count low, just because of where they are. Now they're both in great shape, and as always. But what happens, you don't really see the effect with those guys early in the year. It's later in the year where they just get worn out and beat up the older they get. I saw it with Cam Wake down in Miami, where we'd start off the season, and then, by the end of the year, it's just they take a toll on them as long as they go. So we'll have a pitch count per se, with those guys. But when the most impactful plays are about to happen, hopefully they're in there.
When you guys go on third down, when you get your third down package out there, and I know you're just drawing it up now, but do you have 5 or 6 or 7 new guys out there on third down? And have you ever been presented with that during an off season has there been so much? Have you ever been through so much change?
Yeah, we had one year down in Miami. We turned over the whole linebacker room, similar to what we did here. Turned over the DB room. So it was similar. And we ended up playing pretty damn good defense. Those guys were all good players. I'm not – they'll be fine. They're professionals. I'm not worried about it. We'll coach them up. I love your picture.
Oh, thank you.
I got an idea, though. I got an idea.
What's that?
Can you hold the picture over your face and then talk?
Ask not what Lou Anarumo's at 3'4" can do for you.
There you go. I love it.
Coach, you cut your
Guys, we are at the 14-minute mark. I just want to be mindful of lose time, so just a couple more minutes, please.
you cut your teeth, in the secondary. Trey Waynes, Mackenzie Alexander, these guys. What kind of impression have they made on you?
Well, it's not just those two. You hit the nail on the head. Those two, they've played a lot of ball and have done very well. But you don't sleep on LaShawn Sims. Don't sleep on Winston Rose. Those guys are guys that have been successful. Winston up in Canada, having all those interceptions the last couple of years, and LaShawn Sims has played meaningful football in big games, and they're all big guys. They all have length to them, and it's exciting.
Coach,
You
what
guys
have
use
you
the box
seen,
safe. Go ahead, Tyler.
What have you seen from DJ Reader, and how has his approach been thus far in camp?
Great. Yeah, he's great. Great guy. Very, very motivated guy to be the best. Came back in unbelievable shape. He's just like Gino, very talkative. He's the life of the party, But no, DJ's been great, very professional, and we hit a as a guy. I know how he is as a player. I did not know him as a guy, but we hit a home run there as an organization.
You guys used the box safety a ton last year, whether that was out of scheme or necessity or whatnot. Do you, now that you probably have a better linebacker room than you had last year, what are your plans on using that box safety, or Vaughn in that role? And, do you feel like that's going to, whatever safety spot that will be, that'll shift a little bit more this year?
It depends. It depends on a lot of factors. Really depends on the offense and what they're doing and things like that. But we'll incorporate both single high looks as well as two safety looks. So to say you'll see a good mix of both. No team in the league will play exclusively without a safety down there. It's just too hard these days. But we'll incorporate both. All right.
All right, Lou. Can't thank you enough